Hey, everybody, welcome. I am doing a Monday night. I did not think I'd be doing one this week, but we will be live tomorrow too. Just some frustration that I needed to bring out for you guys. And it is on the Discord. I did post it for anybody who doesn't follow PokeRev. Of course, if you did see his video, it's a little frustrating. I'm not going to say anything bad against PokeRev. In general, he's a very upstanding and good guy. We question the mystery packs, we question some of the practices that we continue to see, but the real question is what do we have? What does he have against investing all of a sudden? When him and Cool Trainer Ryan were the investing people back in 2016, 17, and 18, and all of a sudden go and throw investors under the bus. I'm still trying to figure this whole situation out and what that deal was. He honestly thinks that investors are the situation here, and it's not even close. Investors are kind of priced out. As an investor myself, I'm priced out. I'm not investing in the prismatic evolutions right now. It's a suicide run. Nobody's investing. So to sit there and do that is absolutely asinine, is the best word for it. So I don't know what his deal, if he just wanted to finally take a jab at investing and make it sound like that was a problem. But I don't know. Let me know as you guys come into the chat here. I mean, I was driving the day and I saw that video come on. I think it was about 6-7 hours ago. It came out while I was driving, and I'm kind of slow playing this a little bit. I want to give people an opportunity. I didn't get a lot of time to put this video up just because I got home and I quick threw it up because I wanted to get things going. Hey, royalty, how you doing? Hideous, thank you so much. Jacob, thank you so much. Thank you so much for jumping in. Like I said, I'm going to slow play this a little bit at the beginning because I want to give people an opportunity to get in. And make sure you guys hit that like button as you guys come on in, because I think this is a really good discussion, number one. And number two, the overall, the asinine words that came out of his mouth and how he, like I said, it's like I felt like it was like he was looking for a moment to jab at investors, and he's been looking at it for a while, and he just all of a sudden saw something and went, I'm going to hit you right now. And realistically, it doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. It's like he has no recollection of history of this hobby. I mean, the man has been here supposedly forever. I know he has been. I mean, I can't say that he hasn't been. Of course, he's been here forever. He's been in the hobby for a long period of time. And it really just doesn't make sense. Even his time frames don't make sense. I mean, there's not I don't not everybody's going to remember full time frames, but people usually have close recollections of where time frames were. To sit there and say that 2022 was the boom in vintage and there wasn't a boom in modern back when that first boom happened during COVID, and it's like, where were you, under a rock? I mean, this is looking exactly like what we had. I mean, it literally looks like 2020 all over again. No product to be seen. Surging Sparks, aka Vivid Voltage Jr., is now freaking doing the exact same thing, priced almost identically per booster box for what Vivid Voltage was. Prismatic Evolution, same time frame from Vivid Voltage to Shining Fates. Prismatic Evolution's running the exact same price as Shining Fates when it was first released. I know, it's hard to believe. It's absolutely crazy. So, like I said, I see a few people coming in, so thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you come on in. And we are going to be doing a live tomorrow. This is just going to be a little bit of a rant. And let me know in the comments as you guys are hanging out with me. What did you think about PokeRev's video? And if you haven't seen it, basically the synopsis of it is that he thinks the hobby's in trouble, that the hobby is in dire straits, and we're barely going to make through this. This is going to destroy the hobby potentially by what's currently happening, that investors are the biggest problem that we have right now, and that people investing into this product is causing this issue. And overall, to me, it's just absolutely crazy to put this type of situation out there when it comes down to it. So my feelings is that this was a personal jab. Absolutely was a personal jab. You sit there and look at the time frame, evolving or XY Evolutions and XY Roaring Skies, extremely expensive sets. Extremely expensive sets in XY, but they got printed to oblivion. That is how Pokemon has always adjusted the market issues. They print to oblivion. They have not done that, and it's an issue that we've been talking about for the last year, is where have been the reprints? None of the sets have gotten any substantial reprints. Nothing has happened in the last, since Scarlet and Violet. 151 is the only thing that has gotten a substantial reprint. We have needed booster boxes for sales. We have needed booster boxes on the shelves for a long period of time. ETBs dried up and gone. They don't exist anymore. Sleeve blisters are a thing of the past for most of the sets. And we, at this point in time, have not seen any kind of print activity from Pokemon TCG. The one thing that ticked me off about PokeRev is the fact that he decided to throw us under the bus as if investors, and I do business too. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do business and I use that business to sit there and push through the investment side of things. So I use my business to pay for my investments, put my investments on the shelf for free. That's the ultimate goal, and that's what I've been working on through the last 2 years. He has opened more product in one opening than I was able to get of Prismatic Evolutions directly from distributor. So you can't sit there and blame investors in Pokemon for the situation when we can't even invest into this product. We can't. I'm not. The only thing you have going on right now is you literally have flippers. This is a flipping market. This is a scalping market again. We are literally repeating 2020 all over again. From Vivid Voltage to Shining Fates, put in Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolutions. We are seeing the exact same pricing. Vivid Voltage booster boxes were $250, $260 a booster box. We had Shining Fates on release because there was such a shortage of product, just like we're seeing with Prismatic Evolutions. We're seeing the exact same turnout, $140 to $160 ETBs. That's what Shining Fates was on release. It got printed to oblivion. Vivid Voltage got reprints that were not necessary that killed it. And of course, the market realized, hey, this set ain't that great. And that's exactly the situation that we continually see in this current market. And it doesn't make sense. If you're going to sit there and look at it, history is repeating itself. OG Weedle Farm, he just said it. History repeats itself. Why is history repeating itself? We don't know. And unless you're in the inner workings, like Mason and I talked, unless you're in the inner workings of the Pokemon space, you are never going to know why that's occurring. During COVID, we knew why it happened, right? It was material shortages, it was layoffs, it was workers not at work, they didn't have full facilities running, there was backups of everything. If they didn't have material, their stuff got put on the side because they didn't own the print groups at that period of time. I mean, they had all of these excuses that they had at that point in time, all pretty much based around that pandemic and the situations that it came because of that pandemic. Why is it occurring now? There shouldn't be a shortage of material. There shouldn't be a shortage of workers. They own their own printing companies, so they should be able to kick off anything that they want in order to be able to do this. And Pokemon, historically, and the funny thing is that we had PokeRev sitting in there saying that vintage was the only thing that went up in 2021, 2020, 2021. He said 2021, 2022. He was a year off even on that. And he sat there and literally said vintage was the only thing. He doesn't remember modern doing this. I don't know what rock you lived under. I mean, I know that you have storage bins full of stuff, but there's no way that you were doing videos about it. How do you not remember the history of what occurred in the time frame that these things occurred? But yet sit there and then throw investing people under the bus and then have the goal at the end of the video to sit there and go, we must as PokeTubers all come together and work together. You just freaking stomped a third of the PokeTubers out there and expected them to sit there and work with you now? You threw us under the bus, you kicked us in the gut, and then you sit there and go, okay, come work with me now. Kiss off. As a member of the investing community, kiss off. As a member of a smaller business, kiss off. Just because you're a big YouTuber, you don't know squat. You don't know what's happening because, hey, you can make a phone call and get whatever the hell you want. You're just as bad as a damn sports cards people at this point in time. You don't know what it's like to work. You don't know what it's like to fight down the ground to try and get this product to keep your business going. You don't know any of this stuff. Yes, you're PokeRev. You make a phone call to a distributor and the distributor goes, yes, King, what do you need? He probably got as much Prismatic Evolutions as he wants. He's the guy that we were just going to do a hot take video about with doing the whole line of probably at 1,500 ETBs inside of his room that's a sports cards opener, streamer. Once again, it's just absolutely asinine to sit there and do this in the hobby at this point in time, not knowing anything and then sitting there blaming it on this and then saying the players are being hurt. I'm a player. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't. I don't need an SAR Pikachu in order to be able to play the Pokemon TCG. It's not a factor. I can just use the Pikachu EX that's like $8. It's an $8 card. That's not pricing me out in any way, shape, or form. It's not hurting players that I've seen, any players that I've played with. It hasn't slowed them down at all. And they don't complain about the price because this is how it's been for since 2019. Nothing's changed. Sets go crazy. Prices go nuts. The SARs, the alternate arts, all those go extremely expensive. If you want to bling out your deck and you want to have that fancy Pikachu SIR in your playing deck, then you're going to pay. And you know it. We knew that when you did a Charizard V or a Lugia V. If you were doing a Lugia deck and you had 3 Lugia V alternate arts in there, you knew you were going to pay for that, right? You weren't questioning that. You just knew that that's how the system was going to go. So to sit there and regularly sit there and point out that investing is the problem, it's not. Investing is nowhere near the problem. I don't know very many people that are investing in this unless they did try to go through, like myself, to try and get this stuff at distributor pricing and put it away, or are trying to sit there and get it at MSRP. But as an investor, there aren't very many investors out there right now buying this product at $160 with the intention of putting it away on the shelf for investment. At least I hope not. This stuff is probably going to get reprinted. Is it 50-50 in my opinion? Yes. Pokemon's been weird right now in reprints. Nobody knows why. Why are we doing this? What is happening? What is occurring? We don't know. But to sit there and put it on a specific group of people and say that the investing is the issue, no. Blame the scalpers. Blame the sports card people. Why are the sports cards people all of a sudden able to come in and buy thousands of ETBs of Prismatic Evolutions when a place like myself who wanted 150 couldn't even get, it only got 4 so far? It's just an insane derogative way of going about things and then expecting us to all help you push Pokemon to get what you want. Come on, dude. A little bit of common sense. I don't usually get mad and I don't usually pick on people on this channel, but when it comes down to it, look at the logical explanations before you sit there and go after a group of individuals who realistically is just priced out just like the regular market. There is no pricing right now that's good for an investor. There is no real jump in point right now for an investor to get into. Scalpers are playing the game. They're going to keep playing the game. This is 2020, 2021. Sports cards guys got into this game again. And this is exactly what happened in 2020 and 2021. Once the sports card people moved in and started seeing an opportunity to make money and sit there and have an opportunity to make quick cash in another industry, they do. And when they do it, it messes us all up. They chew up every bit of product. I was just at the store the other day, literally saw a guy that I've been talking to for 3 years. And MJ Holding came, brought Surging Sparks. Cool. Awesome. There was some. He literally pushed me out of the way and grabbed all of the sleeve blisters. And he's a sports card guy. He hasn't wanted Pokemon in 3 years. He literally shoved me out of the way and dumped the whole thing into his cart right in front of me. And then wheeled off with it and wouldn't say hi to me. That's the issue. That is the problem. It's not the Pokemon people. I've seen so many people in his comments too that these fanboys and these people that sit there and like worship these guys. I don't understand it. I don't understand the loyalty to a YouTuber. I don't expect that loyalty out of I can defend myself just fine. I don't need, you guys. I understand you guys want to help out and maybe point out points. That's great. But to sit there and be like these diehard like soldiers with swords and shields going up to protect your favorite YouTuber, please don't do that for me. Please don't do that. I am absolutely fine with covering my bases and where I stand on things. And sitting there watching the comments even of these people, then all up with their pitchforks and flames, all ready to go after investors. The divide in this hobby is going to be absolutely insane. So, like I said, this is a rant, a overall just crazy topic to be going into. And this is coming from probably one of the biggest investors that has been out there, and he's bragged about it. Him and Cool Trainer Ryan have bragged about it for years, that they've had vaults and storage units and houses full of these investment products that they felt were going to do extremely well. And they've made a living on it. But yet he goes and throws investors under a bus. I don't get it. I really don't. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I mean, do you think that I'm missing something and that investors are really a problem in this current situation? Or is it Pokemon in general for underprinting the crap out of these sets right now? They are nowhere near demand. They bought their own printing facilities. They built everything up to be able to handle this, and yet they're not. I can go onto my distributor right now and there is bupkis, nothing. I can't even fill in the gaps in my warehouse or my sales right now at this point in time from my distributor. It's not possible. There's no way to do it. Unless I start buying the most obscure stuff like these Charizard boxes and try and rip them down and make money on the packs, those are really the things. Or the Pokemon collection, that big case thing, I could get that. Or tins, I can get them Vision and the Gouging Fire tins, Raging Bolt tins, and break them down for packs. But in realistic terms, we just don't have availability in this stuff. And whether you're using a business to build your investment, whether you're investing and have been sitting on product, now is getting to be a great time to sell. And as an investor, I'm selling into this market more than I'm buying in for what I have that I've been investing. Because in general, there's more opportunity to do that than there is for the people that are scalping right now. The scalping has just gotten to be ridiculous again. And this is all coming down to the lack of print. If Pokemon were to do one heavy print, do like they did with when they did Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Evolving Skies, and they did Celebrations and Fusion Strike, and just do that massive dump. Just dump the market. If they did that, it would be absolutely a godsend for the salespeople. It would get product out there that we need, and it would give us the opportunities to do what we need and actually get this market to stabilize again. And it would get and flush out all of these people that we don't want in this hobby again. That's what we want. We want to flush these people out again. Because let's be honest, it's not going to get better with Journey Together. It's not. And then you think about it, either the next set after that or the following set is that Team Rocket set, guys. It is going to be an absolute madhouse for that set. We are literally going to go back to having fist fights in Target for product. And it's not a good scenario. Overall, the scalping is going to get worse. It is going to continue to become very, very detrimental to the health of the hobby for the people that like to open packs themselves, for the people that like to invest and get that sealed collection, for people that are investing in the cards or looking for their card collections. It's going to start hampering that. And that is a situation that's really the problem. Now that I'm done ranting, PokeRev went after the completely wrong group. And he's looking at a bigger part of this market that is definitely there, but it's not an active player currently in this situation. Investors are not a big active and not a big active part of this current problem. Would investors love to get their hands on some of it? Yes, of course. But then it wouldn't even be really investing at that point in time. You're really just sitting there and doing flipping. You're buying it to sell it. You're buying it at MSRP to try and flip it for a big margin right now. And that is going to be an issue as well. But on the other hand, for myself even, like I was talking to someone about that. What are you going to do with 4 ETBs? So now basically I'm sitting in a position where as a business, because I can only get 4 ETBs while I'm watching people that are in sports getting thousands of them, I'm only getting 4. And that's what we're going to do. So I just saw this. Did you watch the whole video? PokeRev didn't just blame investors. He blamed a lot of stuff. Investors, pack breakers, scalpers, Pokemon. Yes, but he basically went after investors pretty heavy. And I actually went through, it was about a 5-minute section of it. Yes, he slightly touched on scalpers. Pack breakers he really didn't go after very much. And Pokemon he did say, but he didn't go after Pokemon very hard either. He just wanted everybody to work together to tell Pokemon to print more stuff, because his point on Pokemon was that they didn't print enough. So, yeah, Cool Card says he got 100. I didn't. I got 4. So, I don't know. Apparently, I'm not cool enough. I need to work harder, bro. Yeah, good luck. 2 distributors and a side one, and I only got 4. So, yeah. No, I know where they went on 2 of them. So, anyways, I didn't say you're kidding. I'm just saying I just don't have time to sit there. If 2 distributors can't supply enough product, then I probably shouldn't be digging that hard at running a full time business. Yeah, and that's just it. I was trying to be able to sell them at store pricing. So I could get them at stores. I mean, I'm talking from distributors. I got 4. So I got them from stores. I didn't do. Okay. So yeah, you had to buy it at full sale pricing. So my 10 at GameStop got canceled. Pokemon didn't print nearly enough. So we're gonna go through this real quick. And like I said, I'm not doing a long live today. It was very irritating listening to that whole thing. You know, telling us to push Pokemon to print more. Pokemon needs to print more. We've all been pushing for that. And so that was a really, really interesting way to go after kind of pop at investors. So yeah, I mean, I got 1 case coming. So I got 20 coming from an LCS that I had them get. So they did get me 20, and I've got 4 from my distributor. And that's all that I really got. But I'm paying MSRP on the other ones. Yeah. Had to buy around $80. Yeah. And see, I'm not paying $80. For business wise, yeah, I could flip it for $80 still, but you're also running too big of a risk at a business. Now, if we're, if you want to sit there and run that risk, you can. I mean, that's fine. Me paying MSRP, I was okay with on this set, but I'm not paying 80 plus for a ETB of Prismatic Evolutions. Granted, it would have worked out okay on this time, but there's no guarantee that that's going to work out because Pokemon in 2 weeks could douse another whole complete run of those things. And Michael, that's what I'm concerned about. We've got all these individuals right now currently in this space that are not good for it. You got sports cards. They got sports cards coming through and sports cards sellers coming through, and they are eating up that upper market. They're really, 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 really starting to dump this down. So yeah, here are cool cards. That's what I heard too. That our distributor saying April, May will be getting ETBs. I'm live, Thomas. Yep, just short one. We're going over the video. I'm gonna go up to the beginning real quick and just see if I missed any good comments up above here because I know Cool Cards is really working on her down there. But I want to see if anybody else has anything to say. He wants to pander to his collector audience. Yeah, he really did on that video. I will agree. He threw a lot of different groups under the bus. Investors was one of them when he's one of them. I don't understand why you would even bring investors into that. Scalpers, the Pokemon. You could go after sports breakers too. They're definitely jumping into the market because of this. Scalping's big, but investors have nothing to do with it. Bringing them into it just doesn't make sense because investors shouldn't be buying into this. If they got it at MSRP and are selling out of it, then I would get it, but it'd be out in the market. The fact that we're low on allocation is because sports, and I can tell you that right now, talking to my rep at Southern Hobby and at ACD, they made it absolutely 100% clear that the sports cards market's completely chewed that up. Investors are flippers. No one BS's me now. They are not selling surging. No, I've got my case of surging. I'm still sitting on it. If I hear reprint, I'll sell it out. But if I investing is completely different than selling. I can tell you that right now. If I'm buying stuff for business and selling, I'm flipping and trying to move it, of course. But I'm trying to get it at distro pricing and sell it at MSRP. Or if I'm buying it at MSRP, I'm putting my markup on it to try and make money on top of it. So yeah, some flipping is investing. I mean, it depends on if you're short term, long term. I tend to do both. But there again, I mean, if people got pre-orders, then yeah, they're probably going to be flipping it. Scalping is more of the problem because even that it's a whole twist. There are reprints coming for surging too. Yes, I've heard that from ACD that they are talking. My rep at ACD said that they're talking about they've heard rumors of more ETBs of Surging Sparks, or more booster boxes or more products of Surging Sparks, and they're talking more ETBs of Prismatic Evolutions in April, May, and June. So it sounds like there's going to be like a 3-month time frame where they're going to do that. So Temporal Forces 100% restock confirmed at distro. I'll have to check because it wasn't up. I just looked before this live and there was none at Southern Hobby. I didn't look at ACD yet, but Southern Hobby didn't have any up on there when I looked about an hour ago. Ben Young, we've all seen it, mate. You're better than this. Don't farm views by slagging off PokeRev. Everyone in this hobby knows who he is and what he's up to. Well, it's not that. It's the frustration of it, Ben. You know, the problem is that when you sit there and you have a niche in a hobby and you enjoy a hobby, and granted, there's always going to be people coming in, and the problem is that it's not the views are here. I know that, and I'm not really trying to push for the views necessarily, as I just want to get it across that investing really isn't, and it's frustrating when an individual like PokeRev, he's an upstanding person. I don't have anything against him. Absolutely don't have anything against him. I think that he's well represented in the community. He does a lot of good things. Some things are questionable, just like anybody in business. I mean, you could sit there and nitpick just about anybody's business when it comes down to it. And you could sit there and say that everybody's getting a markup, too much markup. If you're doing 20, 30% on something, someone could argue that you're making too much markup because you can do it for 5. We sit there and look at, even the price gouging information that people were going after, like Cisco. Cisco makes 3.4%, but people say because that equates out to $4 billion a year, that's too much. And that's the question is if you're selling stuff, you're buying packs, you're selling it at a markup, and you're doing that, then I don't have anything against you. If you're buying things and you're doing that, then that's definitely nothing to blame. Pokemon is 100% the blame. That's the only person that should be getting blamed right now for the current situation, because they've created a market in where we can't get product. And this is exactly what happened back in Sword and Shield. This is exactly the same situation. Pokemon would not have blown up as much as it did or ballooned as much as it did back in Sword and Shield if Pokemon had been able to completely supply product. Short product in Darkness Ablaze, in Vivid Voltage, in Shining Fates, and in Battle Styles, that little group there caused a ballooning, and that's exactly what we're seeing. We saw it start in Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade was the starting point on where there was no longer enough product for the demand of the set. It carried over into Stellar Crown. Stellar Crown did the exact same thing, sold out extremely quickly because demand was starting to break, because overall, this is the one thing that we see, is that they balloon. And then you saw it happen, and Surging Sparks was kind of the catalyst, because then they short printed Surging Sparks. And they short printed it down to the point where the hype just exploded, right? And then people started going, I want Surging Sparks, but they couldn't get it. And that's what we talked about. When you get that happening, you have this domino effect where everything goes backwards, and it's like the whole train derails and all the cars come forward. And we've seen all the pricing and every single product do the exact same thing, and seen this big surge of these train cars all finally pulling forward to where everything has got a huge demand. And we have to really, really be vigilant of that, but it's definitely on Pokemon when it comes down to it. And if they want to fix it, they can. It's absolutely a easy fix. All that they need to do is 100% just print product. Print, and we don't know why. And we don't know why they won't. I mean, Mason and I talked about that when we were live back in November, that it just doesn't make sense why. And Mason's been on the chat while we've discussed it too, all the way back at the beginning of the year. There is no booster box reprint. There's no booster boxes. The sets come out and the booster boxes are gone right away. And it creates this domino effect that just does not end. And then, of course, now, you get like Prismatic Evolutions. You got Hype and FOMO. And now you brought in another subgroup, which are the sports breakers, back into it, which is where we were having that issue back in Sword and Shield as well. They were a big catalyst to that price increase, especially in Modern. They were a huge, huge catalyst to that. And that catalyst is occurring again. And as that catalyst is occurring again, we are continuing to see this potential issue. So going after investors is very, very hard pressed. Yes, there are going to be some flipping investors right now. There are people that are going to be doing these things, and you can't sit there and say they're not. Um, Overall, it's just something that we were going to deal with in this situation, and hopefully we'll see a correction of this in the near future. Hopefully we will see Pokemon sit there and start to move forward in a better direction. Gimbo, heated debate tonight. Yeah, and it's okay. Hey, IFOMA, how you doing? Welcome on in. We got Professor Oak. How you doing, bud? How you doing this evening? Just seen one ad. We got a swear at computer big website in Canada. Drop pre-orders for prismatic evolutions today. Yeah, Canada's a different market though. We're dealing with completely different distributors and stuff. Part-time Dr. Applesauce attacking streamers on his Insta. So what do we got here? Care. I missed something on that whole train. Pokemon Nintendo don't look like they did the switch first. Yeah, no cursing. I'm just looking through where this whole Dr. Applesauce thing's. So Northwoods. So in turn, they will not sell it at all. Now I bet on the day of release they have a wall with prismatic products at market. Am I wrong? Who's that? Who's gonna have a? Who do you think's gonna have a wall of it? I know that we've already seen videos of sports streamers having walls of it. And computer websites selling prismatic. I know that's what I mean. I don't understand how some of these places got this product. We can't get it. The actual Pokemon people can't get it, but yet we have people just getting random individuals have just mountains of these stupid ETBs, and yet we can't meet the market for it. So it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Guys, make sure you guys hit that like button too. Greatly appreciate it. See, we got about 95 people in here and only 15 likes. So let's see if we can get some likes going on this stream as well. In your opinion, what's a reasonable price to buy these ETBs, Pokemon Center ETBs for? The Pokemon Center ETBs are going to be nuts. I honestly, the lowest price you can find them at, that's what I'm going to say right now. If they do what they've been tending to do with the Pokemon Center ETBs, you may want to be sitting there hoping that you can grab some off the website, probably on Friday or Saturday. Make sure you're looking in the morning. And yeah, you're going to want to try and grab some off of there for the MSRP. Otherwise, I don't think that those are going to come back down because there probably won't be any more of those. The ETBs themselves, I would seriously hold. As an investor myself, I am holding on those for the investment side of things. I just don't see it holding that price. I could see this becoming very quickly in Pokemon's mind the next Shining Fates, where they then reprint several times. Granted, it's got the hype of the evolutions, it's got an Umbreon on it, and these pull rates, my God, are they atrocious too. So the atrocious pull rates, I mean, you're not pulling, some people are saying you're not getting one evolution pull per 1,000 packs. That is absolutely insane. I got 8 cases so far from one of my distributors. Another distributor literally gave me 1 ETB. I felt disrespected. Michael, who's your distributor? Just out of curiosity. Chris, Northwoods CCG, my local LGS. I think they will have at least some prismatic products. However much they get, I'm betting that the day after release, they will put it out for a markup. You know, the problem is, though, Chris, is even myself, I said that, we're going to have to. I know some people are really, really going to be upset about that. But as a business, when you're usually getting like me, I usually order 100 ETBs of every set, and I got 4 out of these 2 out of my distributors. So I usually get 50 from both distributors. And I'm going to, even if I got 10, I would have to mark that up. You're going to have to try and make it up because as a business, if your number one push is in Pokemon, like myself, I sell 99% Pokemon. That's what I do. If you don't get these products at enough of it to actually make up a margin, you're in trouble. This is a dead set, and there's not like I can go back and go buy Surging Sparks, right? It's not like I can go back and buy Stellar Crown or Twilight Masquerade or at this point Temporal Forces. It's a gap. It's an opening that we have to be able to try and make up that difference. So it's definitely it's going to be really, really edgy and different and hard when it comes down to it. Some places are going to be selling. It's going to be like Celebration ZTBs when they first came out. People are going to be selling them for $80. Your LGSs and LCSs are probably going to be selling them at $80 because they were undercut so badly that they really don't have any. They don't have any way of making up that income for that time period. Correct. It's just seems a little weird that with local LGSs posting on Facebook that they won't sell it on release for MSRP, but the next day they don't mind selling it for full market pricing. See, and I don't think that they'll sell. I know I wouldn't sell it at full market pricing, but I am going to try and calculate to try and make back some of that loss. We have to. We got to cover the bills. Why not just sell it on release for market price? People will buy it, and if they want it, it all just depends on. It depends on the LCS. It's definitely an issue when it comes down to how LCSs manage. LCSs want to give people the best deals that they can. We want the business. Even myself as an online store, I would rather get business and take a little bit of a hit versus the market price because number one, I can usually make it up in quantity. So if I'm less than, so let's just say the market value of it was, let's go back to Surging Sparks. I sold Surging Sparks at $59.99. I made a little extra because I didn't get as many as I wanted. I only got 80 of those ones. I marked it up $5 on each one of them versus Walmart, and still the market price on them was 75 at the time. And they still sold out really quickly. I made back my money quickly. I was able to put money in my pocket, and it was good. And I managed to float that across for a long period of time. I don't think that LCSs necessarily want to push that. What did you do for the customers who pre-ordered with you? I am actually waiting for ACD to give me a final count here because they're doing their final shipments right now, and they're trying to give me that PokeSlam. Otherwise, we're going to end up probably refunding all of it because I got 4. So, I mean, I could probably do the 4 of them and send them out if anybody wants it. But I know a lot of people were hoping to get sealed cases of it. So, it's definitely going to be an issue with that. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be an issue. There's also the option ACD wants to take anybody that wants it and roll the money forward, but I don't want to do that. I'm never doing pre-orders again after this situation. I thought I was helping out by getting us ahead of the game, and we ordered way early to be sure we got them, and it flopped pretty hard. So check the Discord. We are going to be putting that up on there for you guys, so that way we're going to be working through that for what you guys want to do. Hey, is the Cat, I joined Discord recently. Are you taking questions? This one's more of a rant, Michael. Tomorrow we'll be doing more questions. It's more of a laid back one at this point. So, yeah, that's pretty much the where we're at right now on that. So basically, ACD wants to push they want to push the funding forward into Journey Together, but I don't trust it. I'm going to be 100% honest. If we want to do that, that's something we'll discuss in Discord. If we want to do that, then we definitely can. If you guys want to try it and see if we can get Journey Together, and we can just roll it forward into the next one. But I'm done ever doing pre-orders. If I'm going to do it, I'm just going to order a bunch and see what I can sell for lower pricing. So, all right. Thank you for calling Blastoise Expert. Thank you for calling out the scalpers. Yeah, and that's the bigger issue right now. And that's something that's never going to go away. It's definitely going to continue to be an issue on that point. Where is your store located? I don't have a physical store. I have an online store, and that's in the comment or in the description. Let's see what else we got going on. Just trying to look through. So, like I said, I don't normally have anything against PokeRev. I mean, I've done one other video where I talked about his packs and what he's actually making on them because I think it's a fair market question to know what someone's making on it. And once again, whatever somebody's willing to pay for profitability, if you're willing to pay for it, then so be it. But when you sit there and start calling out a section of the community that's really not involved currently with the problem and made a big deal about that being the issues that are going to go forward, that's when I got a problem. And I'm going to be 100% honest. I was fuming a little bit on that for sure because it's definitely a big situation that could have been averted if it was just the information was just wrong. I mean, even the time frame was wrong, and it's like you get amnesia. It hasn't been that long ago since we've been through this. Do I think that this is going to be something that's going to carry on forever in Pokemon? Probably not. I think at some point we'll see a massive correction in print. We'll end up with a ton of product, and people will be on the other side of it, like Pokemon Knowledge always puts out there. As I walk through the shadow of the $79 booster boxes, we could definitely get back to that situation as well. So it's really a toss up when it comes down to how this is going to turn out. Um, but a good flushing, a good steady reprint from Pokemon would push out the scalpers, and it would push out the sports cards individuals again, just like it did in 2021 at the end there. It just took a good flush, and that's exactly what had happened. The hobby is alive, baby. You're such a bad person. How dare you make money in this world? I know, right? And I don't mind. I really don't mind people making money in this world. I 100% get it. If people, I'm 100% in a capitalistic market. If you can sell it and people will buy it, then sell it. If people don't want to buy it, it's just capitalism at its finest, right? If people don't want to buy it, I could list this right now at $200. Nobody will probably buy it, and then I have to make a decision as a seller. Do I want to lower the price of this until you meet it, or do I want to wait and hope that this product at some point in time becomes $200? That's just capitalism at its finest. I 100% I'm behind that. And that's how the markets always work. They fluctuate. That's why we see price increases on products. That's why we see increases in the value of products, and why Evolving Skies is doing what it's doing, right? If we didn't have a capitalistic market, then it would just be a set price, and you always buy an Evolving Skies booster box at MSRP, right? It would never go up in value. If you had a set price on it, it would never move. But if you're sitting looking at Evolving Skies, or you look at any other sets that have been out there, they do fluctuate based on the market and demand. If there's not enough demand, the price goes up, or the price goes down. And if there is too much demand for a product, the price goes up. We have a large demand right now on Pokemon again. We're seeing a lot of new people, seeing a lot of new channels coming out, a lot of new YouTube channels coming out, talking about investing in and flipping, and where are you buying these products to buy a Walmart and selling it. Like I said, it's just very reminiscent of 2021. It's literally a reprint. It's like someone literally took Surging Sparks, replaced Vivid Voltage with Surging Sparks, and now we're just playing the same game. And eventually it will catch up. Eventually we will see an adaptation. Pokemon will do something to do that, and it'll be really interesting to see overall how that goes. So let's see. I saw something here. Everybody forgot Shining Fate or were not there in 2021. Yeah, and it's the same thing. That's what we talk about. Vivid Voltage was $250. Vivid Voltage is the exact same price as what we saw in Surging Sparks right now. It's crazy to think that Vivid Voltage, considering its history and how it's performed in the last 2 years, was almost $260 at one point in time. It's absolutely nuts to think that. And it's the same situation. We're running the same situation over and over and over again. And that's just what we're looking at. Julian, why would long-term investors even want products selling at 3x MSRP? It doesn't give them an accumulative solid position. Yeah. And that's just it. I mean, none of us are right now, investors are not in this market. If they were in this market, they pre-ordered. They got the pre-orders, and they're doing quick flips. They're making their money back to be able to do that. And I don't, once again, I don't sit there and think that there's inherently a problem if you could get in on those pre-orders, and then let's say that the market went up to like $80. Fine, you're making your money back on them right away, and you're doing decent. But when you get subgroups, and the bigger problem is still, I don't even think scalping is as big of an issue. Scalping's an issue. Don't let me say that it's not an issue. But the fact that we have in Surging Sparks another subgroup, a big subgroup of breakers and streamers coming into this group and going, I want a large amount of this product. So they took a good section of our product out of the Pokemon hobby and took it over to a sports streaming site because there's an opportunity or potential for money. That is where we have had a huge problem with Prismatic. And there is going to be this product out there. I don't foresee there being a problem. I think there's also, in some ways, there's getting to be way too much hype behind this set. I think if people would take a deep breath and relax and not buy, once again, fight with your wallet, then if you fought with your wallet and not bought this stuff, that would collapse pretty fast. You know, if you got a few of these sports card streamers with this product stuck on their lap for a few months because they couldn't flip it as fast as they thought they could, then you would definitely see that. And then imagine this. Imagine if you didn't go and buy these at 160 from them and they had to sell them right back down at like 180, and they didn't sell them all out because they held their ground too long. And we get a reprint in March and April, and then they're stuck with that stuff like a lot of people were with Shining Fates. Bought it at $140. They still have not come out of that hole from 2021. They are still, if they bought that at $140 in an investment, or if they thought they were going to quick flip that at $140, they are all sitting in that hole right now, and there is no way out of that hole in the near future when it comes down to Shining Fates. So it's definitely going to be, it's really going to determine on how fast Pokemon can do a reprint. I almost hope that a lot of these sports guys and some of these flippers get stuck with this product for a long period of time. That would be the ultimate, in my opinion, to have happen. So once again, it's really up to Pokemon at this point in time. If they were to announce tomorrow that they are going to do a massive reprint of Prismatic Evolutions in a month, nobody would buy these things at 160. They would literally almost revert the flow and push it right back down the hole, because streamers and these breakers and sports cards are not going to sit on this product hoping to have a flip. They would literally get rid of that stuff as fast as they can, just because of the fact that if people know there's a reprint coming, they may just say, no, I'm not buying it. I'll wait until the reprint comes and take my chance and maybe get it MSRP again. It might force them all the way back to MSRP. So in defense, Shining Fates went down because of the actual set. It should never have been that high. No, it should. Well, it was high because of flippers. It was high because of the fact that people were literally sports streamers and stuff were buying that stuff, and it's the same exact problem that caused that to jump up in price. Now, Prismatic Evolutions is a completely different set. This set is going to be fire anyways. It was going to be a lot of feel towards the Evolving Skies. You've got the Evolutions back. You've got an Umbreon EX. You got some really good artwork inside of here that has a chase, and that's why I think Prismatic actually blew up just as hard. But it's definitely not something that's going to. They're an apple to orange set. Don't get me wrong. It's just the time frame in which this stuff is happening that's the interesting thing, and the groups that are coming back in, because this is exactly what we saw in late 2020, early 2021. It is literally the perfect storm. The only difference is that we don't have COVID money. So now this is the question that's interesting is that we always blame COVID and the stimmies as the reason that Pokemon blew up in 2020. What's the excuse now? We don't have stimmies. People are hurting with inflation, but yet we're still seeing this explosion in product. So it's going to be interesting to try and figure out why this one occurred, other than Pokemon just underprinted, which is a lot of times what I kind of thought was happening back in 2020, 2021. Because when that product became available, even though it was dirt cheap, people didn't want it anymore. When it was scarce and it was hard to find, and there's hype and FOMO, and everybody was like not thinking and just buying, then it was sold and went really high. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see overall what occurs and how, if we get reprints of Prismatic, how many reprints we get. Is that amount going to be enough to flush this market? There's a lot of things that are still up in the air, and once again, hindsight's always 2020. We can look back to 2020 and 2021 and see what's happened, but we really can't go forward and see, what's going to happen yet for these particular sets and what we're seeing in the future. So everybody knows how expensive Evo Skies is. They don't want to miss out on the gains like ES. I'll be surprised if it goes down anywhere close to MSRP on the secondary market. The only time it is if we get a massive reprint really quickly. If we get a reprint really quickly here, then it will. But you're correct. I think that that's what I'm saying. Shining Fates and Prismatic Evolutions are apples to oranges. They are completely different sets. They are completely different makeups. You have an evolution set that is following the last evolution set, which just absolutely exploded. So to sit there and say that Prismatic Evolutions is going to act like Shining Fates, no, they're going to act completely different. I think that Prismatic Evolutions is going to perform extremely well. Absolutely. I think the set's going to be fire. Getting some foreign investment, long-term hold, definitely a great thing to do. I just don't think that right now is the time to get into that particular market. And I think that there's a real good saying to just kind of wait on it as an investment and kind of hold off and see when reprints come, if reprints come. what shows up and as things kind of drop. You're correct. Chris says, "Yep, no reprint. The market price will creep up." Yeah, if there's no reprint, there will. But their distributors are already saying that it sounds like there are some. Hannah, PokeRev needs to be canceled. That's a little steep. I don't think it needs to be canceled, but I definitely think that he was doing that video a lot on frustration, for what he was seeing with his fans. He probably ordered a lot of product and didn't get as much as he wanted either. I'm thinking he got pretty close to what he wanted, but he's probably saw an opportunity to try to get more, and he probably tried to push through. But I don't think he should be canceled. I just think that out of frustration, when you get in frustration, even like me, I was trying to make sure I didn't say anything stupid in my rant, because when you're frustrated, you can really do that fairly easily. Um, was I frustrated myself with the way that he put it, that he was blaming investors when him and Cool Trainer Ryan have like toted around that they're investing buddies and kind of put their shoulders up, going, "Yeah, since 2016, we put all this away and made big money." Yeah, okay. So you're gonna sit there and say we're the problem when you're one of the problems. I mean, it's like you're literally the pot calling the kettle black, and you know, it is what it is. I did see that. But and that's one of the things. I mean, do I think that investors are a problem? Flippers, short-term investors definitely are going to be a slight problem. Don't get me wrong. They're going to try and flip it for some money, but I can tell you right now that, typically in general, investors control the market if we can absorb enough to make an influence. But in general, most investors are not absorbing enough product to be an influence on the market. There's got to be something else that's a catalyst for that market to actually make an investor make profit. Even if for everything I invested in Scarlet and Violet, all the sets I bought from base set forward, I always keep 2 cases back of each one of them. They really didn't have any value until a catalyst happened in the market to make them get value. And the same thing with Prismatic Evolutions. An investor's not going to buy enough Prismatic Evolutions. The investing community is not going to buy enough Prismatic Evolutions to, in general, make a big market fluctuation. But if individuals such as Sports Cards comes in and buys a huge chunk of that market, then yes, absolutely. Then the investors are going to capitalize on the fact that the market has done something, or a catalyst has occurred to where they can do that. Most of us have done exactly the same thing and completely kept moving with the markets and been continuing to move forward with these markets. There are new investors, there are new things happening, but in general, investors are a play with the markets. We watch the markets, we make decisions on the markets, and sometimes we just, like myself, I hold on to product because I like Pokemon. I mean, I enjoy it. I've done it since 1999. I took a gap in college, and I came back in 2019, and I've been doing it ever since. And I enjoy it. I love it. I keep these. I mean, I could sell these right now. I bought those for $250 a piece, coming from Japan when they came out. Those EV gym boxes, but I enjoy them. They're a cool box. I like them being up there, so I have no interest in selling them. Once again, that's sealed collection. I keep it for me, and there's a lot of money sitting right there. I got 5 cases of Evolving Skies right there that I could sell right now, and I don't, because, once again, I enjoy it. I like the set. I think it's a great investment, but futuristically, I might just want to rip through it and see if I got a Moonbreon. It'd be dumb, but at this point, but I do enjoy it. I like having sealed product. I like seeing the cases of Pokemon, and if I sit on it for a long time, I don't care. Grim, he says the reason why prices on these sets are so crazy is because every single person is hyped the hell out of the set as the next evolving set. And that's exactly it. And that's where I'm afraid. That's where I'm afraid for Jim, or for Team Rocket set 2. Team Rocket set might get very ugly as well. But the Moonbreon, it was $350 when, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Moonbreon was the highest set card. It was like 325, 350 when it came out. That one was a really high price at that point in time, especially with where we were in that market. So overall, that Moonbreon did extremely well in the actual market that it was released into, because that was when we had a deluge of product too. We had so much product, and product was so cheap that it was definitely a situation that we had. And that Moonbreon actually outshined. And since then, a lot of the other evolutions in that set have also caught traction and ground and moved forward. And then also the Gengar, all these cards started getting traction back there and started growing as well. And they're all doing really well. Nowhere near as the Moonbreon, but we have a lot of cards back in that time frame that are getting some really good value and getting legs and doing well. If the pull rates are as tough as they seems to be so far, it will be Evolving Skies Jr. Yeah. Evolving Cry is 2.0. I mean, that's exactly what this looks like. If it's one evolution in like 1,200 packs, and or an SIR evolution per 1,200 packs, that is going to be absolutely insane. I mean, absolutely painful. I think that's the Moonbryon was a 1 in 1,200 pull. But now they're saying all the evolutions are a 1 in 1,200 pull. That's going to be absolutely insane. That's actually, that could almost be semi detrimental. And then it's going to go back to people are going to stop chasing and buying the card, which is going to cause the price of that card to go up, which is then going to cause the price of products to go. It's a reciprocating cycle on this set. The fact that the set's Umbreon is now selling for 2K plus is an insane and unfortunate. It is. But the question is too, is if we get reprints of the set, what could happen to that pull rate? Will they make it more or will they make it less? That's going to be the real question. So make sure you guys hit that like button one more time here, because I wasn't going to be this long. I just wanted to rant because I was frustrated with the way that all occurred. And also, Hidden Fates is raising in price. I saw that OG Weedle Farm, or Chris just said that Hidden Fates created hype for sure. Oh yeah, it did. Hidden Fates started this whole movement back in 2020, 2019. I got back in Unbroken Bonds and I bought Hidden Fates thinking it was a fantastic set for hold too. So that was just a fantastic set in general and a lot of fun. The set in general, the Baby Shinies, the first iteration of those, awesome. You know, you had that Charmander, that Charmeleon, that Charizard chase inside of there. Shiny Charizard was an absolute fun set, and that's the real factors when we're looking at when some sets come out. They're really really strong, and then they have some growth to them as well futuristically, and it's a real fun set. And you think about how many times that Hidden Fates got reprinted too. I think it was 4 times on Hidden Fates as well. So, reprints of Scalper TCG. Well, reprints of Evolving Skies brought the Moonbryon price down. Right, it did originally. So when the reprints occurred, when we did have the first reprint of Evolving Skies, Moonbryon did retrace a little bit, not a lot, but we didn't get any big reprints either. So that's another factor as well. Saved by Grace. Full rates or pull rates are so brutal. I'm fully convinced Pokemon is now sending certain people to packs with the Moonbryon and Umbreon. We know who's coughing name. Yeah. Well, we know that. I mean, Leanhart is going to pull it guaranteed because they're going to give him a loaded booster box. You know what? The PokeTubers have said that, and even Pokemon said that back in Sword and Shield. They give them loaded boxes. We know it. Why wouldn't they? These guys are their advertisement. You wouldn't sit there and send them a dud box. They weren't going to get a box of Evolving Skies that didn't have at least one of the big evolution hits in it. Could you imagine if they pulled, well, let's go ahead and open up these 2 booster boxes of Evolving Skies, and they didn't get any alternate arts in it? What that would do for the Pokemon for that set? Oh my god, they would kill it. It would absolutely destroy that set if that were to occur. Just keep in mind with the set, Moonbryon went down, then slingshotted right back up. And that is the fact. If it does dump or come down and a reprint or something like that, it did slingshot right out of there. Chef, anyone else target stock today? No prismatic over here yet. Nope. Ours won't get stocked until Thursday, and the chances are is that our MJ Holding guy likes to skip out on the releases because he doesn't like confrontation. So the chances are is that he just won't show up. We won't get it until the following week. So our Targets, our Walmarts will all probably be absolutely dead. I mean, that's just what they're going to do. So I probably won't even get anything until the following week. Let me see. I'm just looking through. Pokemon Company needs to announce a reprint on Prismatic like they did with Shining Fates. They need to, or else it's going to go up like Surging Sparks did after no product was left. Yes. And that's exactly what I'm always hoping that they announce that there's going to be a reprint, because it sounds like from ACD, and then like I said, my friend's a rep there. He's been there for a long period of time, and he's kind of made it clear that they're being told that there's more Prismatic Evolutions product and ETBs coming in March or April. There's also Surging Sparks coming at that point in time right now, and Temporal Forces has been already announced that they are getting a reprint of Temporal Forces. So we are starting to see some reprints break. It's just a matter of how much we're going to get. If it's a Paldean Evolved style one, we're screwed. I mean, that reprint wasn't even a reprint. That was just a waste of time. Say but a grace, Chef. Give up. You're not getting that set, bro. You have to understand, I'm serious at this point. You're sending these sets to pre-order big name, mainly YouTubers and other people who resell. Let's see. What do you think the real price will be after official launch for the new Umbreon? I'm thinking 750. If the pull rate is like it is, it's gonna stay around. I bet you around 1,000 to 1,500 bucks. I don't know if it'll drop under 1,000 at this pull rate, personally. If if they stock it on the shelves, I'll get it. The average Joe doesn't stand a chance in this game anymore. No. And the problem is that's where I was talking. So I do know that the guy who was like kicked me out of the way for Surging Sparks at the store at MSRP at Walmart, he is actually he has the number for the the MJ Holding rep. So he literally, the MJ Holding rep tells him where he's going and what time. So he literally follows the MJ Holding guy right behind him, which is BS. I think that MJ Holding guy should be fired for doing that. But once again, they've got the advantage and they make sure they get what they want. If Pikachu is 450, a new Umbreon is going to be double. Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know if it'll drop under $1,000 personally. It'd be a really tough play for me to see that dropping under 1,000 anytime soon, just because of the value currently in there. You gotta love people crying about investors when the issue is rip and shippers, scalpers, flippers, and the main culprit, the Pokemon Center International not printing enough. Exactly, and that's the point. That was the point of this whole rant is that investors are really the smallest factor. Yeah, there are going to be investors that got pre-orders that are going to flip this. You know, you as an investor, you'd be stupid not to, in my opinion. If you can flip this right now and you got it for pre-order for 55 and you're able to do that and just flip it right now for 160 and then wait for a reprint, why wouldn't you? Keep some back if you want. You're still going to pay off. You know, you could sell half of it and keep half of it back forever for no cost. I mean, it'd be crazy not to. Rip and shippers, hit or miss. Like I do, like on TikTok, I do ship or rip and shipping, but I do it off of most of my product comes from distributor. So once again, I don't see an issue with that. The scalpers are definitely going to be an issue, and the flippers are going to be an issue as well. People that are buying it at one even 140, expecting to sell at 160, 180. I mean, that's going to be the bigger problems. I know people don't like rip and shipper sometimes, and I do it a small time just because it's part of the business. It actually gets me my sealed sales usually, and it's a good way to get in front of people. But in general, you know, once again, most of us are getting our product from distributors. Sometimes we got to go to the stores, but it's very rare that we're going to the stores to do that. Typically, we are just buying it from distributors or we're buying it from second sources online and then shipping it. Granted, there are some that are just, you know, I think it's crazy when people have stuff for sale for, like, for example, myself. New set comes out, Surging Sparks comes out. I'm selling at $4.50 a pack. They were selling it at $7. They're literally $7, $8 on release. So it's just crazy. Walmart canceled my prismatic ETB case of 10 at 55, and mine got canceled at GameStop. So I ordered one at GameStop, and I went there and talked to him, and the GameStop guy said we're all a ton of them got canceled. Even their in-store ones got canceled. So I pre-ordered online. The in-store ones got canceled as well. So it's not looking good. 20 cases I'm hoping to get for my LCS. He's supposed to have 20, or not 20 cases, 22 cases for me. I did manage, but there again, I'm paying $55 a piece for them. So it's just not, it's brutal out there right now when it comes down to it. 1750 Eclipseon. What's this say? I'm completely skipping Prismatic. I absolutely refuse to pay above MSRP. Got 2 pre-orders of the Pokemon Center ETB for Journey Together, and also 10 boosters. Will rip 1 ETB and boosters hold the others. Yeah, I mean that's I think it's absolutely fine. We only get Silver Tempest and Obsidian Flames, a couple boxes of ETBs, and no one wants. I think the real issue behind the scarcity of Pokemon sets since fall is the influx of customers that came from Yeah, that's another thing too. I forgot about that one. That's a good point out there, Mimikyu. How much did that app, the Pokemon Pocket TCG app, really affect that? It definitely could have. Just like Pokemon Go caused a little bit of boom as well, and Pokemon has not revved up to mitigate that increase again. So it always takes Pokemon about 6 months to, seems like 6 months to 8 months to really work on that and get that gap filled in. So you know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. The other big issue I think is rip and ship. So watching a few videos, and some of these guys will like 70K boosters over the year. Huge influx on demand. But Pablo, that's been pretty consistent for a long period of time. I've been pretty consistent on my rip and ship numbers. Um, and you know, if you're doing 70K, 70,000 rips a year, and you think about it, even myself when I'm ripping on TikTok, it's everything from like Sword and Shield all the way through today. That's really not. So if you look at that for number wise, I mean, you're looking at 70,000 packs total divided by 12. I mean, that's 5,800 packs a month. So 5,800 packs a month divided by, roughly 12 to 14 sets. So, I mean, you're looking at 400 packs a set per year. I mean, that's not, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not a ton. And when you look at how many, you think about Pokemon printed 9 billion cards, that's a lot. So, exclamation scout. But some people are crazy with it. One of the other guys that goes to the stocks was bragging about knowing where the MJ Holding vendor line lives. So he sits there in the morning and follows him. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that our MJ Holding vendor gives some people his phone number and literally texts him what store he's going to and what time, and then those people just follow him right to all the stores. So you're literally fighting with them to try and get this product. The only good news is that when they come in, they typically go to the sports cards first. So if you can catch him when he's there, I know roughly what time he shows up at my local store. I'll sit there and kind of hang back, and when they go to the sports to start pulling, I'll go to the Pokemon and pull what I want real quick. So you got to be a little bit smart on it, because they still do their tendency is to go to the sports sides first, even though it's kind of dumb, but they know other people are coming as well. So that's kind of a fight. Collect Pokemon. When people realize English holds the best value, everybody around the world starts buying, and that's another issue too. I've been seeing a lot of pickup of international sales on even TCG Player, and also other sites as well. I've been seeing an increase in international sales, so it's also another problem. Rish, thank you so much for joining in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and welcome into the stream. We're going to call it quits, though, guys. I know I was going to be a little bit shorter, but I've gone as long as a normal stream. So we will be live again tomorrow. Tomorrow is just going to be our normal market stream, market discussion, and talk. So I see there's still about 99 people out there. If you could hit that like button before you leave, make sure you guys, if you can, hit that subscribe button as well. It's greatly appreciated to subscribe to the channel and help it out a little bit, building things up. And overall, guys, thank you everybody for hanging out. Like I said, I don't completely, I wouldn't say cancel PokeRev. I wouldn't go that far. I think a lot of the stuff was just heat of the moment when it came down to what he was saying. And I think a lot of times, thank you so much, Scalper TCG. A lot of times I think when you get heated, I think he's heated for whatever reason. I don't know what he's heated about. I don't know if the community itself is just, he's hearing all this horror stories right now out there, and he became heated with it, and he decided to go at it. And I think that that's part of the problem is that when you're heated and you're not really thinking, like, time frames are off. He was even saying that, nothing before before Pokemon Go had value, and it's like, that's not true, because Roaring Skies had a huge value, and so did XY Evolutions when it first released. But Pokemon did what Pokemon does, and they just doused it in reprint and killed it for years. It took all the way until 2020 before you saw value. So overall, I wouldn't say cancel PokeRev. I just think that his analysis was misguided a little bit. Investing is not an issue when it comes down to the overall longevity of the market and how well it performs. I think that these prices are not being fueled by investors necessarily right now, and I don't think that that's a big factor when it comes down to this and how the actual market's performing. I just think that overall we have a problem with Pokemon Center International focusing on printing something else. I don't know what they're focusing on or what they're printing. I thought with the lack of reprints and the lack of Surging Spark that Prismatic was what they were focusing on, and that we would just see a huge deluge of actual products there for that. I did not expect to see Prismatic to be this short. I expected them to double down, if not triple down, on this set. And it seems like they just printed the same as they did with Paldean Fates, and that's not good for the current market. So overall, I think it's really, 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 really good information to just keep in mind that investors are small things. Phillips got in here. What are the issues then? Number one, scalpers. Number two, Pokemon Center International. Scalping has become a huge issue in sports cards. Another subgroup moving into the Pokemon space right now. That's going to be probably your biggest factor when it comes down to the overall issues right now, is the fact that we have sports cards, streamers, breakers taking product out of ours and moving it into the new part. Friendly reminder: you can always invest in the stock market. Oh, well, you can. I mean, if you don't want to be in this market, you definitely can. I do still involve. I mean, I still have my Roth 401k. I max that out every year for my business, and then I also have been buying precious metals as well. I'm moving all over the place and doing different investments. I don't ever say stay in Pokemon investment. Pokemon investment is never a for sure thing, and nothing's a for sure thing, but it's always good to diversify and go into different markets. So definitely a good point to put out there, Rish. It's definitely a good thing to put out. So otherwise, guys, thank you everybody for joining me. Like I said, I will be live tomorrow, normal time, 9 p.m. Central Time here on Northwoods CCG. We'll be talking about current market, what's happening with the new set coming out. Not in this terms, actually just talking and breaking it down a little bit and going over that. And then answering questions too. I know some people on Discord and stuff had some questions. They're new to the hobby. Great opportunity to kind of sit down and hear those new questions and maybe have a breakdown of that and help out in the chat too, discussing it as well. It's always great to do so. So otherwise, guys, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your evening, and we hope to see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.